if you aren't sick of seeing or hearing my face pop up on these lives yet, I'd love for you to join me. Let me turn my volume, my speakers down, and I'm curious, can you hear me? My speakers are down, so you're not hearing all my notifications, but Kashif and Natalie, can you hear me? Nick Mo, welcome back. You can hear me, cool. Okay, I turned my volume down. So I'm like all prepped and ready to talk. Now I was ready to have a conversation, and now I'm just gonna kind of talk to myself and to you guys. So this is really last minute, but I was looking, I take notes sometimes. Hey Natalie. Hi Mike. Hey Jamie. We got to get together soon. Thank you, Kashif. I think I pronounced that right. So I take notes sometimes with me if something pops into my head, or if there's something that I think about that is sort of like a breakthrough, and finally this one thing makes sense to me. So I decided to just scroll through my notes and see what I wanted to talk about. And there's two things, and I'm just going to see where it goes. There's no plan here. It might be kind of clumsy. There's no outline. I'm just in the mood to speak on my highest excitement and to speak to you guys. So and to see what you have to say. Paulina, wish you could be here. Hey. Okay, so the two things I want to talk about. The first one is, why is it when you, and I heard this recently from somebody, and I had been thinking about it already, so I thought it was funny that it's now like out in the collective and other people are thinking about it as well. But why is it when you ask somebody like, hey, how you doing? How's your day going? What's up? Like any form of the words, why is that just like an invite to complain and tell me all the shitty things that happened to you and tell me how your life is in the dumps? And or anybody, not just me, just anybody asking at how you doing, what's going on question, it seems to be an invite to complain. And it's very interesting to look at that, because when you just kind of, you haven't seen somebody in a while and you say what's going on, or you're at the register talking to the cashier and you say, how's your day going? And they complain, like how is that? I don't know how to even put it into words. If I was on the other end and I was complaining when you were saying, how is your day going? I'm like, well, you know, it rained today. It's like -2 degrees here in Cleveland, and I walked out in the mud and my shoe got wet, and then right when my foot got soaked, I got in the car and my gas was on empty and my cat got ran over. That doesn't, what does it do? What does that do for your day? How does that allow you to feel good? And this by no means means that, you know, I don't want people to really dive into their emotions, because that's not it at all. But to consistently complain when you're asked how you are kind of shows me that you're pretty shitty. And I mean that in the most loving way, but when I ask somebody how you're doing or what's going on, that to me is a reflection of how you see your life. And if you're complaining and bringing all of those things that happen to fucking everybody has shitty days, everybody has shitty moments in their days. And when you, hey Nate, when you then just, you know, magnify that more by talking about it, that just is a mirror for me to see how you maybe, you know, looking at your life and assessing your life. So Paulina says, my mom does that all the time. I love her, but she's always complaining. Natalie says, programmed to be negative. We are programmed to be negative, I think, because that's the only way, not the only way, but that was like a huge way when we were kids. But we got love. Like we'd get sick, or somebody would be mean to us, or like dad would yell at you and the other parent would be nice, or whatever way it goes around. Like, we got programmed through reward to complain and to look like victims and to look like we've been beat down. And I think there's a part of that that maybe makes us feel like we're victors and that we're strong in the face of adversity. And like, okay, if you were diagnosed with cancer or a severe illness, and that is what is in your reality right now, that is like totally awesome to talk about it, get it out, get your emotions up. But if you're in a bad mood because the weather's bad, or if you're in a bad mood because you got the wrong topping on your pizza, which, like, I can get in bad moods over food. I'm not saying that doesn't happen to me, but just in a bad mood and just talking about how the world is picking at you, picking at your scabs, it's not effective for you to live a happy life. And hey, Jonathan. Nate says, hey, Shauna, I've been saying these types of things to people for so long. Yeah, so I've known Nate. I've met Nate a long time ago. I worked with him, and he was pretty positive most of the time. I mean, he got in his downs, but who doesn't? And I can't even say that he talked to a lot of people about those because I was his leader. So that to puke uphill is sort of what they would teach us. So you complain to the people who you respect to try to get their advice, but to ask for it too, and to ask for solutions. So when we're complaining, just like in the sea of complaints and oh my gosh, my life is so terrible, swimming through it and not seeking a solution or asking ourselves or others to help us find a solution, this is something that irks me so much. What's up, Goose? Hey, V. Paulina said, we could be in a mood because of the tech issues, but not right. Paulina and I have been like trying to get this live video going for months. We've been trying to schedule it, but she's again in Australia and I'm in Ohio and the times are all screwed up. And it was 5 o'clock and we still weren't on yet. And like, we're not mad about it at all. It's okay. Like, it'll come when it's going to come. And it'll be that much more funny when we actually do it. So I could totally be in a bad mood right now, but not at all. I'm using the opportunity that I'm prepared to speak to speak to you guys and to practice my speaking, and maybe to help you guys with an insight on watching how you're speaking throughout the day. And when people ask you how you are, maybe try to, if you can't think of anything, just try to genuinely say that you're good and look them in the eye and smile and believe it, because you are good. You have a phone or a computer to watch this on. You can hear it, you can see it. Most of you, or if not all of you, can taste food, have a home, have the money to spend on whatever you're watching this on. Like, you guys are okay. I am okay. All of our needs are met. And so if you really struggle trying to find something of the light to look at, just know that you're okay and really work on not complaining when somebody asks you a simple question of like, how you doing, what's going on, how have you been? And you'll notice such a shift. I love those little hearts. I think those are like the most hearts I've gotten. Sherelle, hi. Brian, hi again. I know you're on the other one. I think I deleted it. So Natalie said, oh my God, yes, I live in Maui and it's ridiculous and hilarious to me how people on vacation literally let the weather control their mood. If it's raining in Hawaii and you're on vacation, it's automatically a shitty day. Right, you're in Hawaii. Just giving the power away instead of taking control and choosing to have a great day. I love that, giving the power away. That's such a good way to just kind of condense it, as you're giving your power away to the rain, which is nothing you can control. The only thing we can have control over is how we react to situations. There's that quote that I'm sure you guys have all heard, but I'm going to say it again anyways, is the problem is not the problem. The problem is your reaction to the problem. Hey, Jonathan, thank you so much. You're always hopping on here, so I appreciate that. The problem in it is in your reaction to the problem. So that is so true and was such a shift for me because like I will be the first person to shout from the rooftops how much I lived life as a victim or how much I lived life as life was happening to me and there was nothing I could do about it. And poor me. And you know, subconsciously using these things to get love and support and community and respect even. And yeah, Natalie said many people seem to major in minor shit. Hell yeah, don't sweat the small stuff, man. It's the your life is so much bigger than that. My life is so much bigger than that. My life is bigger than listening to you complain without trying to fix. I am becoming not okay with that. I want to call people forward and I want to help them. I don't want to give them any advice. I just want to help them speak about what's going on, if they even want to complain, and then what can you do about it? But just speaking from a place of I wish I could think of a better word for victim because that's such like a word we hear all the time. Speaking from a place of like pity party is not effective and is not going to change a thing. Somebody that I was really close to a long time ago had high anger issues. And we would have these conversations like, okay, you're really angry because of this thing that's out of your control. So you let the anger take control and do these things like punch a hole in the wall or scream or throw your phone and break it. When in reality, that thing, that event that was out of your control already happened. And there's nothing you can do about it now. So why get angry? Because that is only hurting yourself. You're only putting yourself in the position of feeling this fucking rage and prolonging it, because it's okay to feel angry again. Like it's totally just being human, but to prolong it and to seep and wallow in the anger like that's your choice. So, oh, I thought Natalie said something. My mama's on. Hi, Mama. Hi, Brian. I'm so glad you think it's excellent. Jonathan said, sometimes the best reaction is to give no reaction. It breaks the cycle. That's great, too. There's this really cool thing. If you guys, I'm sure a lot of you guys have read Ask and It Is Given by Esther and Jerry Hicks. And I'm going to talk about something in that book that I love that Jonathan just reminded me of. And so there's a part they talk about discerning. And I didn't really understand what discerning was. It was kind of like making a judgment call of like, no, I don't want that. But it's actually without the negative judgment on there. Like, ew, no, I don't want that. It's just a discerning like, that's not effective. And they put something in the book that was hilarious. And I'm going to over exaggerate a little bit, but hey, Chad, thanks for hopping on. But they're saying, so if you want to make chocolate chip cookies, and this will be like, the chocolate chip cookies are a metaphor for how you want your life to look like. You make these chocolate chip cookies and you go in the spice cabinet. And the spices are all the things that are in your life, all of the happenings, all of the things you can't control, all of the things you can control, all of your thoughts, all of the people around you. Everything is in the spice cabinet to help you make the cookies. And these cookies they're your cookies. I mean, they're your life. So you want to make them the best that you know how to. You have a recipe, you're following a recipe. So I get all this stuff together and I want to put vanilla in the mix for the chocolate chip cookies. Well, I look up in the cupboard, so I'm looking at my life and all of these things in it, and I see the garlic salt. And judgment would be making cookies, which have nothing to do with garlic salt, looking at the garlic salt that's in front of the vanilla and saying, fuck you, garlic salt, why are you in my way? Get out of here. I'm trying to make chocolate chip cookies. And that's not the way to do it. But discernment is just looking past the garlic salt and getting the vanilla to make the cookies. So this was like huge for me. Thank you, Jonathan, for bringing that up, because we don't have to, we get to not judge other things as good or bad, because sometimes if I'm making fries or something that garlic salt would be awesome on, I'm going to want that garlic salt. So there's no point in me judging it. It's just me looking past it and seeing the vanilla. Um, Hope that made sense. I see a lot of heart, so I'm thinking it did. Uh, okay, so Natalie said, I worked in retail for 10 years and found the best way to deal with all the negative Nancys was just to nicely and sarcastically call people out and throw some positivity and honesty in their face with a big smile. No negative vibes allowed here. Thanks, but no thanks. So how would you do that, Natalie? Did you say no negative vibes here? Because I've tried a few things, and I've tried to say, like, I've tried to reword the question of, like, how you doing with, like, what's good? Tell me something good. And people will either, if you say, like, oh, tell me something good, or what's good, that still is like a what's up, and they just don't even hear it. Or if they really try to think about something good, they make it up, you know, like, oh, well, it's 70 degrees today, and you can just tell they don't care. You like chocolate chip cookies? I'm pretty sure I knew that, Brian. Hey, Kim, how you doing? So that was my first thing I wanted to talk about now, but I might make it my only because we're coming at 16 minutes. But yeah, another comment here. So Seema said, yeah, great example about discerning. We are all of us. So we have to take a pause and watch the conditioned responses go by to tap back into intuition. Love the baking metaphor. I'm totally going to borrow that. Please do. I exaggerate it from the book Ask and It Is Given by Esther and Jerry Hicks. If you haven't read it, it's a great, great book. And hearing your vocabulary, I bet you'd really like it. So he's saying we are all of us. So I'm going to break it down what he's saying, because what he's saying is good. So you, me, all of us, all the people out there, we are all of us. So when I look at you, I see a reflection of me, and the opposite. When you look at me, you see a reflection of yourself, and so I'm sort of creating the environment I see, which I do know that means that I'm seeing people that complain all the time. I am aware of that. But as we are all of us, so we have to take a pause and watch the conditioned responses go by. So we're discerning out of the conditioned responses, which what a conditioned response is a response that is unconscious. It's just a response that happens because we've done it over time. And when we've done it in the past, we got some sort of reward out of it. So a conditioned response would be like complaining when somebody asks, how is your day going? Because in our past, we probably got a lot of affection or love or attention because we were telling people how our day went. And so now our bodies just make that an unconscious thing. We don't even think about it. People ask us how we're doing, and we word vomit complaints. So he's saying we have to just, if somebody word vomits on you, it's just important to look past there to tap back into our own intuition. So not to get caught up in the other people's complaints is what I think you're saying. I love that. So Natalie said, but yes, I did tell people sometimes they were killing my vibe. That's a good one. You're killing my vibe. With a smile, I might use that. Oh, Shamus, is that right? Shamus McMullen? That's an interesting name. Paulina said Asking It Is Given is one of her favorite books. And she said, I used to be a big complainer as a teenager. Yeah. Even in my 20s, like even 3.5 years ago, or less. And still now, not like I don't ever do it, but it was just so nice to, like, you want people to see how hard your life is, you know, and understand. You just want somebody to understand what's going on with you. But what's going on with me is that I have a body to live in. I am alive. I am able to speak my truth. I am able to choose what I put in my body. I am able to vote with my fork. I am able to do this Facebook Live with you guys, with people that are across the country. It doesn't matter if I slept past my alarm clock or if I felt sick yesterday. Like, I'm able to do all of these other things. So if I want people to understand me, I want them to understand the best parts of me. And I want them to understand how I am taking this life in full advantage in this moment and moving forward with it. And if I want people to understand my hard times, that's going to be reserved for very, very close people who I respect and who I've seen go through the mud themselves. Like, I'm not going to complain and ask my mom. Actually, this is a really good metaphor. Mom, I love you if you're still on. I'm not going to have a problem and then go to someone and talk about that problem. If my intention is to get advice, I'm not going to go to somebody and talk about a problem who has not risen above that problem. Just like I am not going to go to my mother and ask her how to change my oil. She doesn't have a clue how to change my oil, you know? I'm going to go to somebody who's changed the oil in many cars so they can tell me how to change the oil in my car. My best friend Michelle is on. And another, Brian. So this was like a really aha moment for me. I had maybe 5 years ago, and I'm just really starting to learn it, is because so many people talk relationships advice. They complain about relationships. They complain about work. They complain about trying to be happy or trying to be positive. They complain about let's see, let me think of something I complain about. I complain about not feeling good sometimes. And I know for me right now, something I'm stepping into and have been stepping into and have seen a huge shift in stepping into is, if I have a complaint about a relationship and I want to seek advice on that, if I complain to a girlfriend and they want to tell me what they think about it, like, that's cool. It's a close friend of mine. But if I'm actually seeking advice on it or taking advice, I'm only going to take advice on relationships with somebody who's in a happy, by my standards, relationship and has gone through the mud. If I'm going to take advice on career, I'm only going to take advice on a successful entrepreneur who's been through the mud and made a fool out of themselves, So be careful who you're taking advice from. I don't know how I got there. So, look, I already forgot how to pronounce your name. I'm going to scroll back. Seamus. Okay, so Seamus said, I've heard it called getting caught up in the mind stream. When we keep the negative patterns going, it's great to hear your perspectives on it. Complaining doesn't accomplish anything when it's viewed only as problems. There has to be a solution as the focus. Brian said, I complain about the Browns. You always complain about the Browns. And I can't make you any chocolate chip cookies. I'm not even eating chocolate at the moment, so there's no chips here. So Seamus, you reminded me of something awesome too, is like, some people, including myself, have these unconscious tendencies that are given to us through programmed responses because they worked for us in the past. Is some people just don't realize how they're speaking about their life. And if they don't realize how they're speaking about their life, I can assume that they don't realize that how you speak creates your life. And it's all an awareness game. So once I learned that, and tried it on and tried it out, once I learned that I didn't want to use the word need, I wanted to use the word want. Instead of like, I need to work out tomorrow, I can say I want to work out tomorrow, and I can feel that difference in my body, literally changing my reality as I speak it. That awareness shifted me into shifting how I speak about everything. And you can kind of get caught up in it, but it makes such a shift when you speak about things the way that you want to see them play out, or the way that you want to feel about them. You can go complain about it. No cookies for you, Brian. So the awareness of figuring out that our words create our reality is like what lights me on fire, and seeing the differences that it's made in my life. And really, literally, when you stop and reflect on how you show up in the world, and how you speak to other people, and how you speak to yourself in the world, and you stop and you take a look at it. And you guys have probably heard this before, but I'm going to remind you, like, the things that you say to yourself, would you say that to your best friend or your mother or somebody else that you love? Because I bet you wouldn't. And really being aware of what your self-talk is really does help how you speak into the actual physical to other people. Or the opposite, if you start wanting to speak positivity to other people, that's going to really help your self-talk up here, because then you'll be like, oh my God, I told myself I was fat like 10 times today. Or that I don't deserve this relationship, or that I'm not good enough to go find somebody better. And these things are not true. And just I just invite you guys to pay more attention if you aren't already. Paulina says, it's also being mindful on who you talk to, and finding the impartial friend and not the ones who add fuel to the fire. Yeah, that's true. So your community, they say that the 5 people you're around the most are who you are. And that's totally true. And I see that in my life. And the people, there's few people in like my life that I see a lot, like person to person. I have a lot of friends through this great group called Soul School that we connect with. But looking around at your group, your 5, really is going to show you merged how you may show up in the world. And so shifting that and stepping away from toxic people, and stepping away from people who add fuel to the fire. So you may be trying out this new way of speaking to yourself and speaking to other people. And you might have a friend, like my friend Michelle. I am trying all these new things, and I'm evolving into this different person, and she never gives me shit for it. But the people that do are maybe some people that you might want to think about, walking away from and letting them be in their process, because you are worthy of yours, and you are worthy of what you want. And friendships sometimes expire, and it's just like relationships, some are just not meant to be lifelong. They're meant to teach you, and then they dissipate. So stand up for yourself. That's all I got. And somebody else just hopped on, and I have nothing good to say. So this has been half an hour. I think that's the longest I've been on. I love the little hearts. Thank you guys so much. That was so nice. Paulina, I'm so sad that we couldn't get on for a live today, but I'm so happy that I did this. And really just be aware of your thoughts, and notice when you ask people how they're doing, or when people ask you, notice your response, because that response is painting your life, and that response is showing you what's inflamed in your fucking vision of the world. And your vision of the world can be anything you want it to be. It can be the fact that it's negative 20 degrees and it's raining, or that you had a bad hair day today, or that I gained 5 pounds over the holidays. It could be anything, or it could be all of those other good things I mentioned, like you have heat in your home, you have warm water, you have clean water, practically free, clean water. You have the option to express yourself on social media. Oh, express yourself on social media. See how you express yourself there. You have all these options, and you are so gifted, and you are so lucky, and I am so lucky, and I am so gifted, and I have all these options, and I'm choosing to take them. And I'm choosing to discern away from the things that are out of my control and have nothing to do with who I am as a person, like the rain. And the rain is simply, if the rain puts you in a bad mood, or the weather puts you in a bad mood, you get to lean into that and see why. And you get to now notice that this thing, like the snow, is something you cannot control, and you just cannot control it. And you get to see that, see like, okay, I can't control that the weather sucks, so I'm in a pissy mood right now because it's snowing outside, but now I get to change that because I have the option to change my emotion. I see you. Yeah, it's shitty when it's cold outside, but now I have the option to change my emotion. And I'm going to look at my cats making doofuses out of themselves, running around this whole room, growling at each other if you didn't hear them. So I'm going to go, I believe. Thank you guys for listening. I'll talk to you all later, and I'll let you know about Paulina. And be aware and know that the only thing you can control is your reaction to the problem. Love you. I love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.